this country belongs to everybody. That is the kind of concept of India. Very innocently, a lot of people ask me, Parakala, what is wrong? Christians have their own countries in the world. Muslims have their own countries in the world. Why can't Hindus have their own country? This is the question. We are not here to worship the past. We are here to go forward into the future, into a tolerant India, into a democratic India, into a secular India, into a scientific India, into a modern India. That is our goal. That is the way forward for India. The government, the Prime Minister, who was roundly defeated, rejected by the people, is now claiming that they had a huge victory, and everybody is writing that they had a huge victory. But of course, the civil society does not believe that. I'm extremely happy to be here with you and participate in your 61st state conference. Kunikananji told me to inaugurate this, but we all inaugurate this. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Because I have to say something formal, just for formality's sake, let me say that I declare this conference inaugurated. I must also share some of my thoughts on this occasion. First of all, I thank all of you for having me here today. During the speeches of Sri Kunikannan and Sir, I heard my name taken 2 or 3 times or even more. I didn't understand, but I must thank both of you for having said some generous words about me. Kunikannan sir told me to speak something about the way forward, the future of it. Before I share my thoughts on that, I must apologize to you that I don't speak Malayalam. So I would say a few words in English. I speak slowly so that you can understand. Probably most of you understand. I've been to Kerala many times before. To a large extent, if you speak in Malayalam, I can make out. I can get some sense of it. But to English. Before we talk about the future of India, let's spend some time on what is the present and what has been the recent past. I'm reminded of a small anecdote. Friend of You remember Napoleon? Napoleon Bonaparte? He lost the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. And then the anecdote is like this. He came back to life and went to the United States, America. Then he met the president and said, you know, if I had the armed forces like America has, like its army, its navy, its air force, and its nuclear weapons, missiles, I would not have lost the Battle of Waterloo. I would have won. That's what he told the American president. And then he came to India. He met the Prime Minister of India. And he said, if I had the media like you have, nobody would have known that I have lost Battle of Waterloo. Everybody would have felt that I have won the battle. That is what exactly is happening today. The government, the Prime Minister, who was roundly defeated, rejected by the people, is now claiming that they had a huge victory. And everybody is writing that they had a huge victory. But of course, the civil society does not believe that. Sir, I want to tell you that we have escaped by a very small chance, a disaster for India. If the present ruling party had managed to come back to power as they expected to do, with good majority, they were aiming at 370. But even if they had come back to power with what they had earlier, 303 or whatever, India would have had a disaster. But luckily, we escaped that. That is the recent past of India. And what is the future? How do we go forward from here? What is likely to happen? This is something that we need to very seriously think about today. And more than anybody else, probably as much of as anybody else, you have a great responsibility on your shoulders. In history, there is nothing inevitable. We can't sit here and say that is going to happen or this is going to happen. What we can do is imagine what should be the future of India, have a clear idea of the future and work towards that and make it happen rather than waiting for it to happen. So we have to shape our future. We have to have a very clear idea about India. What is the present situation? How do we shape the present so that we will go towards an India of our idea and our dream and our concept. There have always been two clashing ideas of India. And one idea is as follows, that India belongs to one particular people. That particular people belong to one religion. In India, of course, that idea is that India belongs to Hindus, only Hindus. All others, be they Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, Jews, or whoever, or no religion, they can live in India, but they have to accept the supremacy of the Hindus. And next step is that the citizenship of India is therefore based on what religion you belong to. Very innocently, a lot of people ask me, Parakala, what is wrong? Christians have their own countries in the world. Muslims have their own countries in the world. Why can't Hindus have their own country? This is the question. This is important. Lot of people unknowingly ask this question and therefore believe that it is okay to have the entire country only for the Hindus. Don't underestimate the strength of this idea. Without you knowing it, it will slowly and slowly capture your mind and turn you into a person and make you belong to an ideology that works for only one community in this country. This is one idea. The other idea is that India belongs to everybody who lives in this country equally. There is no one particular owner of this country. And ownership does not come on the basis of religion. Who owns this country is decided on the basis of citizenship. irrespective of your religion, your region, your language, your caste, your traditions, or what you do, what you believe. This is the alternative concept of India. And these two concepts, these two ideas have been clashing with each other for decades and centuries. This is not new. What we are witnessing today is a battle which is centuries old. But last 70 years, we have been able to keep that idea of India which said this country belongs only to Hindus or to one particular religion in control. And of late, last 10 years especially, that idea slowly and slowly got more and more strength, leading to people asking the question that I told you, what is wrong in India belonging to one particular religion? You know, we have a constitution. I want you to remind you of the context in which we framed our constitution. And those of you who have some time and who are interested in reading something, I'm sure most of you are, I want you to read the debates of the Constituent Assembly, not everything, but at least one speech in the beginning of the debates of the Constituent Assembly. That is the resolution on the objectives of the Indian Constitution. This was moved by Jawaharlal Nehru. Please read that. You will understand what the founding fathers and founding mothers of our republic thought about India. Please read it. It is my honest, earnest, sincere request. It doesn't take more than half an hour. Please read it. If not today, tomorrow, day after, 10 days afterwards, sometime you will understand. See, the context of making our constitution is very unique. We started debating the constitution sometime in December 1946, and we finished our constitution sometime in November 1949. Nearly 3 years, just a bit plus or minus 3 years. And that was the time when India was undergoing deep crisis. The country was partitioned. It was divided on the basis of religion. Muslims had Pakistan and the rest of India. So there were hundreds and hundreds of dead bodies coming from the other side of the border into India. and hundreds of dead bodies going from this side of the border to that side of the border, both in the east as well as in the west. And most of the people who are displaced from the other side of the border, which later became Pakistan, were in the camps in Delhi, around Delhi. I want you to just imagine that situation. People have come who were very rich people. They came with just what they were wearing, leaving their houses, their businesses, their lands and their families, and they were in these refugee camps. If husband is there, wife is not to be found. If wife is there, husband is not to be found. If they have two children, one child is with them, the other child is not with them. It was a chaos. And all of them were victims of communal violence. Please remember this. And most of the people who were in the Constituent Assembly were also part of the government and the administration. So they were going into the Constituent Assembly from the streets of Delhi, where there are all these refugee camps. And when they were going, a lot of people used to come onto the road and say, look, I've lost so much, I've lost this much, I lost my wife, I lost my husband, I lost my children. That was the kind of, wailing. That was the kind of pain. And all this was because the religious division. And the leaders who went into the Constituent Assembly, in spite of what is happening in the country, in spite of what is happening in Delhi, in spite of what is happening in the eastern side of the border or the western side of the border, and in spite of the trouble, there was a lot of pressure, because a country was born on the basis of religion, to make this country also a country on the basis of religion. Imagine the kind of pressure. Even then, our founding fathers, in that atmosphere, in that challenging time, sat in the Constituent Assembly and said, this country belongs to everybody. That is the kind of concept of India, which did not give in to communal passions, religious passions, obscurantism. That is the, that is the broad view that our leaders have taken at that time. And when they could take a stand like that and make a constitution for everybody, which said this country belongs to everybody, not on the basis of religion, but on the basis of citizenship. Now, it is our duty to protect, to preserve that spirit and say that this country belongs to everybody, irrespective of caste, religion, region, language. That is the future of India. Our future of India is not 5,000 years ago. We are not here to worship the past. We are here to go forward into the future, into a tolerant India, into a democratic India, into a secular India, into a scientific India, into a modern India. That is our goal. That is the way forward for India. Sir, there is a big army working for communal values. They still had a meeting. 5 people still had a meeting. No recognition, still had a meeting. No photograph in the newspapers, they still worked. For secular values, you can't defend secular values. Don't think one election to a secular, modern, tolerant, democratic, plural and scientific India. Thank you very much.